I really thought going into this game that Hearts would put a marker down and win it. It was the manner of the victory.
Yeah.
I thought all over the pitch, they were all over Celtic. They were swarming over them. They wanted it more, which is a real concern for Celtic. I thought there was a period, obviously Hearts came flying out the traps. And then there was a period, well, it looked to me as if Callum McGregor took it upon himself to lead Celtic back into the game. He had this period of 15, 20 minutes where he was out of this world, best player on the pitch, and Hearts couldn't deal with him. And obviously he gets the equaliser. And then I thought for a good 15 minutes after the equaliser, again, it was everyone was coming through Callum McGregor. Everything good that Celtic did was coming through the captain. And at that point, you're kind of looking, going, all right, okay, this old story was Celtic find themselves with their back against the wall, and guys like Callum McGregor, who have been over the course and distance, pick it up and respond and take their levels to another kind of bit entirely. That's what I thought was happening. For Hearts to then regroup in the manner that they did, they ended the half on the front foot. They had Celtic rattled all over again. So when not even Callum McGregor at his best and most inspirational can get Celtic out of a hole, that tells you something about this Hearts side. I thought they responded terrifically. They were the better team towards half time, and they just absolutely battered Celtic around the place after the break. And you look now at the Celtic team, you know, there are big absentees there, isn't there? When you look at the guys that aren't available, Cameron Carter-Vickers, your Alistair Johnsons, Jota, Maeda, and these are major performers for Celtic, and they could be without at least a few of them for quite some considerable time. I think this is starting to look like a really difficult third season for Brendan Rodgers. You wonder where his head's at because of the contractual stuff, because of the fact that his own board is bitching about him behind his back. All these contributory factors lead me to believe that Hearts, I'm not saying they're going to win this title, but I believe that there's an opportunity. I believe that what was the phrase that I said? That they're not exactly pushing at an open door.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to wonder if they might be. The state that Rangers, I know the Rangers got a victory, and we'll talk about that today, much needed. But actually, you're looking at that, and the result at Ibrox Rangers versus Kilmarnock, it's not, I'm going to say it's almost not relevant to the title race. Then you look at it right enough, and I think the points gap, what is it now between Celtic and Rangers? 5?
I think so, yeah.
So, you know, maybe Rangers could still come from nowhere. But I just look at everything that Hearts are doing, everything that they're getting right. And it really does feel as if the stars are aligning for Derek McInnes here. He's got a real credible chance.
Well, look, there's plenty of comments coming in already. They're pouring in, Keith. And if you're watching at home, you want to let us know not just your thoughts on Hearts' title challenge and the win over Celtic, but anything else that's happened in the Premiership over the weekend. We will talk about Rangers later on, as Keith says. But one of the themes in the comments that are coming in already, Keith, Craig says, Brendan Rodgers picking Dane Murray over Trusty is a joke. I was backing Rodgers over the board, but now I think Brendan is half right, half to blame also. I mean, that was a really big call, putting in Dane Murray.
It's a massive call, especially when you consider that if we are right and if the Celtic board have sort of pivoted away from the sort of transfer model that Brendan Rodgers would prefer, which was what happened last summer when he was, you know, £26 million spent on 3 players, Austin Trusty being one of them. So in this situation today, I think everybody would, you know, 99% of people out there would have thought that Trusty was pretty much a stick-on to come into the team. What does it tell you about the judgment that's been made there? And if anything, if you're the Celtic board, you think, well, actually that validates the decision not to go Brendan Mark II in the summer. I mean, they didn't do anything. It wasn't as if they even reenacted or re-enabled their old model. They just did nothing in the transfer window. But if there was to be an argument as to why they can't put their faith and their money behind a Brendan Rodgers transfer window, It's examples just like that. You know, £6 million a guy, and you're playing a youngster in front of him, and it was a big ask today for Dave Murray, and I felt for him. I felt for him. The own goal's a horror story, isn't it?
There's the own goal, obviously the penalty. See, again, I'm not picking on him because I think I think he still will be a brilliant player, Dane Murray. But see, if you even look back at the second goal, he dives out of the way.
It brings his leg away from it. Did you see the reaction from Casper Schmeichel?
Aye.
He's furious because he knows that. Look, we're not going to hammer the young boy. He's had a difficult afternoon there today. But yeah, all he needs to do is move his right leg, you know, not even half a foot, and he would block the shot. But he actually moved away from it, which is exactly what you don't want your centre half to do in a situation like that. So yeah, look, he'll hopefully recover, learn his lessons, come back stronger, all the usual cliches. But that was a bit traumatic for him today. But I tell you what, you don't point the finger at Dane Murray for that one. You know, one, you could argue, you know, you point the finger at the manager for selection, but how many of the bigger players out there, you know, the experienced guys, the guys that you would be looking for, the only one that I saw that lived up to what you would expect of Celtic in that situation was Callum McGregor. I saw other guys there today go hiding in plain sight, and that's a huge concern. You wonder now if there's some of these Celtic players that are just going through the most. You wonder if there's, you know, and there's reason to believe there's 2 or 3 of them that don't want to be there anymore. So where's their heart when you're in a fight? Because that's what Celtic are in right now. And the only guy that I saw that was prepared to stand up to it today, as I said, was Callum McGregor. He can't do it all on his own. Hearts were too good. You know, and you look at what Hearts had in midfield. Beningberry, and the Aussie boy, name escapes me.
Cammy Devlin.
They were absolutely immense to pair them. Covered every blade of grass, the energy that they put into it. And you could see Cal McGregor looking about going, guys, I'm going to need a bit of help here. Yeah. Because there was no containing these two, especially when they really got on top of it in the second half. I just thought they were immense all over the pitch, Hearts today. They've got threats in the final third. They've got a real combative, high intensity to the work in the middle of the pitch. 2 centre halves that are absolute Ron Seal. They're in a really good place.